is applicable to those residents. It'll be available for public comment for the next 30 days. Posted on the website. There's also a hard copy at the library. Any other announcements? Administrative actions. Next item on our agenda is the Village Planning Board update and discussion. Don, you want to walk us through those things? And then I had also sent an update from the last meeting. I've got the notes in front of me. We can go over those too.
Yeah, I think we can discuss those three projects. I think one of the issues of importance for the EPB right now with regard to planning board is the professional wastewater capacity study that we had approved as a board at our recent meeting. And there's been some back and forth. I don't know if everyone's seen all the correspondence, but there's some sort of, I guess, different view of what our vote represented. And I'm given to understand that in response to the vote that we have a professional study, that Ted and an intern were going to do it on a volunteer basis. And I didn't think that was consistent with our vote for a professional study. And I guess we've been going back and forth on that. So I'd like to, and a lot of it's been happening, without the full EPB involvement. So I'd like to try to resolve that if possible.
Well, I think one of the things that, Don, maybe you and I don't see eye to eye on is the aspect where you're saying in response to. I think the minutes clearly show that I've been working on putting together this information, even briefed the board on it before the motion was offered by you at the last meeting. So I see the items as separate, perhaps. The study that I'm working on that is a update of a study a couple of years ago that you and I and others worked on, I think is fair, appropriate, and a good value to the village. But I don't necessarily think it replaces or is what the resolution or motion that we passed in our last meeting is intended to be. I think the village board of trustees can read that, see it, talk to us if they want to. They can respond to that in any way that they see fit as trustees and members of the trustees. So I don't necessarily see them as, like I said, in response to or necessarily in conflict with each other. And if anything, we were working on it well before the motion was offered.
Well, that wasn't part of our discussion before the vote, that you would be doing the same study or doing a parallel study. I don't see the usefulness of having a volunteer effort to do the same study we just asked professionals to do. And one of the reasons that this proposal was generated, the informal thing that you and I did 4 years ago, that's been, that has not had a lot of credibility because it was done by volunteers. And that's the exact and precise reason that the motion was put forward to have a professional study, to take it out of the volunteer and out of in-house. We need something credible from an outside group that's independent. And the plan, if that was your plan, I wish that were up front and center in the discussion we had before the vote, because it wasn't.
Well, Don, I think that's the point. It doesn't need to be this. If you want to call it a volunteer study or informal or lacks credibility, any of that is fine. The resolution that we passed asked the village board for a professional study. That's still out there. They can still respond to it any way they see fit. They're not necessarily connected. If we're talking about intent, if you're, and when I put this in the emails back and forth to you, we're rehashing the same issue. If your intent was to have it as a third-party, independent, you need to spend money on it in order to make it more credible of tax dollars or ratepayer dollars, then I think that would have been helpful too.
Well, I think that's inherent in the word professional. Professionals don't work for free, and professionals aren't volunteers. And I think to conduct the same study that we've asked the village board to conduct, it kind of undercuts the resolution. Why would the village board want to pay for something that you're already doing? That makes no sense. It undercuts the resolution.
Well, I think professionals volunteer their skills and effort quite often. And I think, I, as a board member, I mean, we've had other studies, other examinations. I lend my expertise to the benefit of the village. I mean, I don't think professionals avoid doing volunteer work within their areas of expertise. I really don't. But okay, so the motion we offer, if we're looking for common ground, and I hope we are working for common ground, because I think we do a good job of working together. Common ground is the study that I'm working on, still working on, will continue to work on with myself and interns and the cooperation of Blue and Chris and the mayor and those that I need data from, including the planning board, would continue, but it's not intended, doesn't have to be the study that you offered a resolution for and was passed by the three of us that are on the screen right now last time.
But it's the same information. It's the same exact information. So to say it's not the same, it is.
All right. Well, I think, if I could be, flippant for a moment, what we say, what I've heard said other places, and even myself from time to time, if you want us to take your watch and tell you what time it is, we can. If you think that they're, two, one and the same, the consultant that the village board would pay for in your intended version of that motion, they can take the study that we've done, that we did 2 years ago. They can take the study that's in draft form right now, and they can put a flashier, prettier cover on it, spiral bound, make it paperback so that it looks more professional. Or they can, be work from scratch. They can be ordered to work without the benefit of the information that's already been put together.
Well, this is a great discussion to have before the vote, but it didn't happen before the vote. And, I understand your position. I respect it, but it's a little late to be making this point. These were very good points to make as we decided what to do and how to proceed. But they weren't made at that point. You're making them now. And I just feel like, as the chair, you're undercutting your own committee. And I'm not, I don't think that's a best practice.
All right. Don, were you aware that I was working on it before you offered the motion?
No, we did something 4 or 4 years ago. If you were working on it, you hadn't requested, on a regular basis, information from the planning board through me. So I wouldn't imagine you could be working on it. You can't need the information and also have been working on it before you ask for the information. They can't both be true.
I'll go back through the minutes or the videos, but we talked about it during one of these meetings. If it wasn't the May meeting, because that's when we passed this resolution, it was the April or March meeting where I talked about the draft results of the data we were combining for this same type of effort.
Well, I honestly don't think we're going to resolve this. I honestly need to reconsider, whether I want to be involved with this committee. So I'm gonna step out and wish you a good evening.
I guess we don't have quorum anymore.
Yeah, Ariana, I would observe that we don't have quorum right now, and for an abundance of caution, I would note that we don't have quorum anymore and ask the meeting to be adjourned without quorum.
All right, I'm going to end the stream.
Okay.
All right, guys. Have a good night.
All right. Thanks, John.